What's good with it, YouTube fight fans all over the world? It's your boy, the realest of the real talk boxing, fresh off a workout. And today's workout was a lot better. I didn't feel like I was going to pass out and die this time. I think it's all this bread I've been eating here lately. I started cutting back on bread the past 2 days, man. I've been eating a buttload of bread. Still been on my veggies, no meat. Still doing good, but I've been eating just too much bread. And that's why I think I've been feeling so heavy and so freaking lackluster when I'm working out here lately. But anyway, I want to talk to you guys about something. An interview that I heard or that I saw of Ben Askren, I'm going to say a couple of days back. You know, I started to make a video on this couple of days back, but I just didn't remember to. But now I do. And I know a lot of frowns, you know, came up on a lot of people's face when I said Ben Askren. I ordered the fight yesterday, man, so I'm on deck. Now, I'm excited for it. But listen, Ben said something that made complete and utter sense to me. Even though a lot of things Ben says about Jake makes sense, that doesn't change my thought on the outcome of the fight, on how I think the fight's going to play off. I still think Ben Askren is going to lose. I don't care what fashion, you know, be it a knockout or a TKO stoppage. I think Ben is going to lose. I still do. And regardless of what he's saying in these interviews that makes sense to me, doesn't change my thinking on that. So don't think that I'm pumping Ben up to possibly win this fight. Does he have a chance? Of course he does. Anybody step into the ring with someone else has a chance of winning, but it's highly unlikely with this fight and these two fighters. Ben was asked in an interview, well, no, he wasn't asked. He was just speaking his mind and his opinion on Jake Paul and how we can actually view him as a professional boxer, as a fighter. A boxer in general. He says, we can't really rate the kid. We can't really judge the kid on what type of level that he's on in boxing because his level of competition has been garbage. Complete and utter garbage. He hasn't fought anyone who was a fighter. Yes, he fought an athlete who was not a fighter, who couldn't fight, who couldn't box, and Nate Robinson. And he says he's never been put to the test. He's never been pushed to the limits. We've never seen him in danger. Well, of course, real talk, you haven't seen him in danger because he's just been mollywhopping all his opponents. But what Ben is saying makes a lot of sense. Who has he fought? Like, who? Who has he fought that? I mean, okay, his first couple of fights, they were on an even playing field. Well, you can't even really say that because he's towered above his opponents and he's outweighed his opponents in pretty much every fight. I think Ben Askren is closest to his body frame as any of his opponents. Now, you look at Nate Robinson and you say, well, Nate was ripped. Nate's like my height, bro, a little bit taller. What, 180, 185? You know, so you can't really say that he's fought anybody of his stature, of his size, and of his level. Now, I've always given Jake credit for doing what other YouTubers didn't do when facing him, which was actually train, take it seriously. He did that. You can't fault him for that. But what Ben Askren is saying is totally true. How can we gauge him or put a level or put a label on him on what, you know, where he is in boxing? How can we gauge? We can't gauge him because he's fought nobody. And until we see him push to the limits, and until we see him step in there with somebody who can actually take his punches, which Ben Askren may be able to do. I'm not saying factually that he could take these punches, but he may be able to take them. And what happens should he go past the 4th, 5th round? Then we in the deep waters. We all know what Ben Askren plans to do. Punch, punch, smother. Punch, punch, maul. Punch, punch, wrestle. Be rough. Suck the gas, the energy, the air out of the younger Jake Paul. Now, is that a sufficient enough strategy to beat Jake? Yes, it is, but you have to carry it out. You have to be capable physically and mentally to carry it out. Now, I think Ben is mentally able to carry it out to succeed in that, but is he physically? he's not the young spring chicken that he was when he was wrestling, when he was in the UFC. And we have seen him knocked out in the fastest UFC knockout in history, but it was not by a punch. It was by a freaking flying knee. And honestly, in my opinion, a flying knee is way harder than a punch. I don't think Ben's ever been rocked or hurt or knocked out with a punch, period. Point blank, period. I don't think. Now, I haven't followed his career, and I didn't know who he was until I heard he was fighting Jake, and that's when I started doing my research. But I don't remember seeing him getting rocked or knocked out by these right here. So it really makes me think. It gives me food for thought. Like, how can we gauge this dude? Now, I've said I rate him as amateur at best, a good amateur boxer, but professional, no. He's only been doing this, 3-4 years? But his development has been very, very nice. But does he have grit? Is he actually tough? A lot of you guys don't understand what that means. Now, grit and tough, that goes to fighters like, I would say Dillian White. He's gotten up from many knockdowns and going on to win fights. That's grit. That's being tough. Evander Holyfield, that's grit. That's being tough. I mean, fighters like that. Now, does Jake have this grit? Does Jake have this toughness? Does he got the nuts to weather the storm, to face adversity? We don't know that. And that's exactly what Ben is saying. And Ben is telling everyone, including me, this is what I'm going to bring to the table. I'm going to push this kid to the limits, and we'll see if he's actually as good as he thinks, and a handful of other people out there in the world thinks that Jake Paul is. It makes sense to me. Like I said, it doesn't change my mind on the outcome of the fight, but it's some food for thought. And like I said, Ben is not afraid, but you don't have to necessarily be afraid or not afraid of a fighter to get your block knocked off. That's just my opinion. That's what I think. Never mind that. Comment down below. That's your boy Real Talk. No, as always, respect all. Fear none. God bless. Until the next time, Real Talk Boxing. We up and we out of here, baby.